cover up. I already did a tutorial on how to do the granny squares and how to attach them together. And total you need 16 granny square, 8 for one side and 8 for the other one. If you don't see that video, I will leave a link in here. That way you can do the granny squares and then you'll come to this one to finish the piece. You will need 3 balls of loops and thread, wool like simile line. That's what I use in total. So I hope you guys like it and give it a try. And if you are not a subscriber, please subscribe and click on the little bell. That way you get notification each time I upload the video. Remember, I do my videos in Spanish and English. If you receive a Spanish video and you want to do that piece, go to the main page of my channel that you'll find the tutorial in English. Something that I wanted to mention, this one is a size to do large. This piece, I'm gonna use wool like the loops and thread. Simile line is a 100-gram ball or 620 meters. You're gonna need 3 of these, and it's super fine one, and they recommend a 3.5 millimeter crochet hook or US E4, and the color is white, the one I'm gonna use. You can use any color, they have many colors, and the 3.5 millimeter crochet hook. I already showed you how to do the granny square. If you don't see that video, I'm gonna leave a link. You're gonna see an eye, and you click on the eye and it will bring you to that video. And last week I did another video explaining how many granny squares you're gonna need and how you're gonna attach them to be ready for this video today. So you need 16 granny square, and you're gonna attach together in a long strip 8 and 8 in the other one. So you need 2 of those. And now I will show you how you're gonna finish your piece. Something that I wanted to show you is, if by any reason you want to slow down my videos, you can go here in the setting in the video and you'll see a speed. You click on the speed, and to the top will be slow and to the lowest it will be faster. You can do this with all my videos or any video in YouTube. So you will have 2 strips of 8 granny square like this, nice and long, 2 of them exactly the same. And we're gonna fold it like this in half to work under the arm, creating the arm opening in here. You have to make sure that this is not twisted when you do this part, because let me tell you, I don't paid attention the first time I did mine and this was twisted. I had to undo my work, and then I have quite a few trouble creating this part, but now I'm ready. That's why it took me so long to finish this piece. Not because it takes time to do, it's because I had a little hard time matching the stitch under the arm. Here I have already the other piece done with the sleeve and everything. It's a 3/4 sleeve, nice and loose. And we started with a long strip like that I folded in half, you see, all the way around. And then I created this beautiful stitch. The one that I showed you last week, I undid that sleeve and that stitch in between the granny square, because I find I gathered the granny square too much and I didn't like the look on the piece. I undid all that, and then I did again all these, and what I did is I elongated the stitch here, the double crochet in the piece, and instead to be just a regular double crochet, it's an elongated double crochet or Portuguese double crochet. There is a yarn over, and with a yarn over you pass it twice instead of one, and the stitch is a little bit longer, and that created a better height for this, and instead of pulling like this. Okay, so now it's perfect. So I made tons of mistake, that way you guys don't have to do all that. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna chain 15 in between the 2 granny square. This is the design of the stitch in here, what we're gonna do. Now if you, this is a size large, if you want this for a bigger size, you can increase one of these motifs on each side. So for that you'll have to add 6 stitches, 3 for one side and 3 for the other one. and in total will be 21 stitch that chain that you will do here. For mine are 15, but if you want it bigger, you'll do 21. So you will do chain it 2 for separation, and then in the third one you will do this stitch, and again 2 chain separation, and in the third one you will do the second one of this, and then after that you with 5 and then do this in the center, 5, do this, and then the other one that you added extra in the other side. So it's very easy. It's a one long strip that went all the way to the end of the sleeve. Okay, so you will need 3 markers to make sure that this is not twisted. I did that in the other one after failing numerous times and getting this done the right way, because for quite a few times I started working my stitch in this side, if not and the other side. And I decided I'm gonna place markers, that way it will make things much easier. So I have these type of markers that I bought for netting. I bought them on the internet. I need a little plastic container to put it in with a lid, that way it will be easier for me to put them out. So with 3, this marker, what I did, that way my piece don't go twisted in the top, I place one in here, attaching the 2 pieces. Don't matter where, just do that. It's just for the beginning at the design. After you remove them and you can be watching TV, watching a movie, chit-chatting with somebody, and you will do this, no problem. The stitch is a repetition of 4 rows, so very easy, very fast to do. So in this side, in the inside, I'm going to place a marker here. And another one in the other side. That way I know it's going up, that I need to do my stitch. So I'm ready to work. I will do a slip stitch or a slip knot, and then I will start working in here until here with 15 chains. Okay, we're going to start with a slip knot and leaving a tail long enough to lose later. Create a little long loop, and in here I'm gonna start in my right side square, my right hand, and then from the bottom up I'm gonna count 1, 2, and then the third one I'm gonna pass my hook. You see it's already open because I record in Spanish. You're gonna pass it through this loop, and that will count as the first chain of 15. Remember, if you want this bigger, you can do 21. So you're gonna do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, and 15. You're gonna come here to the other side, and from the bottom up you're gonna count 1, 2, and then the third one you're gonna do a single crochet. So this piece is worked like a little bit like brook lace, but if I do exactly like a brook lace going back and forth, it will be too many stitches in here, and then it will be a really wrinkle, you know, like a wave in between the granny square. Now if I do a regular double crochet, it will be the other way around. It will be too small, the stitches in the center, and it will, you know, shrink the side of my granny square. So I opted for undoing all that work that I did last week, the one that I showed you that I already have the sleeve and everything, and doing the elongated stitch. Let me show you here. So to do this, what we're gonna do, you see I did my slip stitch here, so I chained 3 and I did a single crochet, and the stitch in between these of the 5 chain stitch in here. Okay, and then I turn my work around. I chain 3 and I turn my work around. I did in the next space of 5 chain the single crochet. I chain 3, move 1 stitch up to the next space of 5, and then I turn my work around. That way it creates 1 motif per 1 chain 5 space, 1 row. Otherwise it will be 2 rows for each one if I don't go 1 stitch up. And by doing the elongated stitch, this is perfect. Okay, so if I sometimes say a double crochet is a double crochet but a little bit elongated, you only do 1 yarn over. So we're going to work back and forth because we have to go work in the right and wrong side of the piece. So you're going to chain 3, 1, 2, and 3, and you're going to come here to the next chain 5 space, and you're going to do your single crochet. You see, you move 1 stitch up. Now you will chain 3, 1, 2, and 3. Turn your work around, and then you're going to work in here. And you see what I meant when I said you need the markers, because the other time when I did my work, I work along the border and instead going up. So you have to flip it like this in order to work and that side in here. Okay, so if you're doing this bigger with an extra stitch, so you will do yarn over and you will count 1, 2, and in the third one you will do one of these stitch, and then you will do another one. You will count 1, 2, and then another one. For me it's just 1, 1, 2, and in the third one I'm gonna do my first elongated double crochet, and it's you pass it, and then you pass your yarn through the first loop, the second loop, and then through these 2. Just by doing that you are increasing the length at that double crochet. Yarn over, you go to the same space, you pass it through the first loop, the second, and then close it in the third. You're going to chain 1, and in that space you're going to do the same, 2 more. You first pass it through the first one, the second, and the third one. And let me tell you, if you do this regular double crochet, it will be the granny square shrink in each side. So I already have the other piece completely done. I lost the tail, it's leaf done and everything, but I didn't like the way it shrunk the granny square. So I undid all that, started all over again, and decided to do it with a longer double crochet. Now, if you're doing another one of these, what you do yarn over, you count 1, 2, and in the third one you do the same. Okay, but for mine I'm gonna work in the middle stitch, so you're gonna chain 1, 2, 3, and 4. Yarn over, you're gonna count 1, 2, 3, 4, and number 5 you're gonna do again an elongated double crochet, a Portuguese double crochet. Chain 3, 1, 2, and 3, yarn over, and another one in that stitch, and you're creating the base of the center motif. You're going to chain 4, 1, 2, 3, and 4, and again you will do exactly the same as you did on the other side. The only thing that change in this design is the center of the piece. So again, you'll count 1, 2, 3, 4, and then number 5, or the third one from the out end, you will do again 2 elongated double crochet, a Portuguese double crochet. You see, when you pull it through, you have 3 spaces. You pass it through the first one, you pass it through the second one, and you pass it through the third one. You're going to chain 1, and again. And instead of doing, you see, when you do a double crochet, you pass it through those 2. You just pass it through one first, and then the second one, and then the third one. So it's very easy. If you're working in a blanket, a baby blanket that is done with double crochet, and you want it to work fast and you don't want to change the stitch, you can do this elongated double crochet, and that will make a difference. Because let me tell you, in the sleeve here, at this one, I had, when I did it the first time with the regular double crochet, I did 7 of these motifs for the length of the sleeve. And for this time around, I only did 6 because it's the same length as when I had the 7 done. Okay, so it will grow as you work. So now you'll chain 3, 1, 2, and 3, and then here is where you have to pay attention that you're working in the side up, no in the border, and that's why you really need the markers. You're gonna come to the chain 5 space, do a single crochet, chain 3, 1, 2, and 3, move 1 stitch up, chain 3, 1, 2, and 3, turn your work around, and you'll see, if you like, you can remove your markers right now because you're already working in the way up. I will keep it there until I do my first motif, and then after that I will remove them. So now you see this always stay the same from here, the stitch, the chain 3 going up, the chain 3 for a space in the next stitch or in the next round. So you come here and do 2 of these elongated double crochet, 1 and 2, chain 1 and 2 more in the same space. You see all that always stay the same over and over. The only thing that change is in between here. So now you'll chain 3, 1, 2, and 3, and inside that chain 3 you'll do 6 elongated double crochet. So that's 1, I have an extra over here, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. You will chain 3, 1, 2, and 3. You're gonna come here in the center and you're gonna do again the repetition. 2 elongated double crochet, chain 1 and 2 more. Chain 3, 1, 2, and 3. Go to the next chain 5 space that you don't have any work in it. Chain 3, 1, 2, and 3. Move 1 over, and then turn your work around. So was a coincidence that I made a mistake in the other one, and instead to chain 3 to go up 1 stitch, and the other one I just turned my work around and I did a stitch, and I made that mistake 1 time on each side. So I didn't remove my work because I was too far up. So I decided I'm gonna leave those mistakes. I will show you the mistake that I made, and I will do the same in this one. I had to make the same mistake, that way it's exactly at the same height my arm opening. Okay, so I'm gonna chain 3, 1, 2, and 3. Again, do that stitch in here, and we're working in row 3 of 4. Chain 1, now you're going to chain 2, 1 and 2, and inside at this space in between the 2 stitch you're going to do 1 elongated double crochet. You're going to chain 1, you go in between these 2, do another one, chain 1 between these 2, that's 3, chain 1, do another one between these two, chain 1, and do the last one. So you will have now 5 these elongated double crochet and 4 chain 1 space in here. So now you will chain 2 again, 1 and 2, and you will work in here. You're gonna do 2 elongated double crochet, 1 and 2, chain 1, and again do the 2 stitch in the same space, 1 and 2. Again you're going to chain 3, 1, 2 and 3, do the single crochet and the chain 5 space in here. You always have to make sure that you don't leave one of those chain 5 space without working, otherwise you'll have a huge hole. Chain 3, 1, 2 and 3, you're going to go 1 stitch up, chain 3 again, 1, 2 and 3, turn your work around, and we're going to do the last stitch of those 4, okay, the last round. Again you do the stitch in here, that's 1, oops, that's 2, chain 1, again you will do those 2, 1 and 2. Now you're going to chain 1 and you're going to do 3 other stitches on each chain 1 space. So 3 elongated double crochet or Portuguese double crochet. So that's 2 and 3 in the first space. Now you go to the next one, do 3 more. That's 1, 2 and 3. Go to the next one. 1, 2, a little bit knot here. And 3, and go to the last space and do 3 more. So in total here will be 12 of these stitches. And the last one. You will chain 1, do the stitch in here. You see this always stay the same. From this to the other side it's always the same. Look. Chain 1 and the last 2. That's 1 and 2. You're going to chain 3, 1, 2 and 3, and you're going to go to the next chain 5 space, do the single crochet, chain 3 and go to the next motif. And like that is the repetition that we're going to do over and over, those 4 rows. Now I'll show you how I made a mistake, but I will do a little bit higher later, and how you're going to do again row 1, because in row 1 here you did it in the chain space, now you have to do it in this one. I made this one in Spanish, and it's exactly the same as you are right now, but in this one, okay? Nothing different, exactly the same. You have your 12 stitches in the center, exactly the same. So in here, I finish. So you're going to chain 3 and go 1 stitch up. 1, 2, and 3. Go 1 up. Do the same crochet, chain 3, 1, 2, and 3. Turn your work around, and all my chains are nice and loose. Okay, That way everything have a nice, it's not tight and wrinkle. So you're gonna come to the space in here and do the stitch again. So that's the same over and over. Exactly the same as row 1. You're going to chain 4, 1, 2, 3, and 4, yarn over, and here you're going to work right in the center at this stitch, right straight from this one. So you'll have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 in one side and 6 in the other one. You don't want to go right through here because you will make a hole. You're going to come to that and at that crochet. It's like a chain space in the top. And between those two is where you're going to do your stitch, your elongated double crochet. Okay, so you're going to chain 3, 1, 2, and 3, and exactly in the same space you're going to do your other stitch. Okay, you're going to chain 4, 1, 2, 3, and 4, and you see my chains are nice and loose. You're going to come to the space in here and do your stitch. Chain 3, 1, 2, and 3. You go to the next space, stitch up, 1, 2, and 3. You go to the next chain 5 space. You see, because these spaces here is the height at this stitch, at that row. Okay, so you turn your work around. To chain 3, 1, 2, and 3, and you see I remove all my markers because I don't want to need my markers anymore. This is nice and straight. I don't want to get any twist in my work. So you did already row 1 of 4. So again, you do the stitch. Chain 1, 2 more elongated double crochet or Portuguese double crochet, 1 and 2. You're going to chain 3, 1, 2, and 3, and you see exactly the same repetition of row 2 and here. You're going to do your 6 stitches and that chain is 3 space. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And you always will have the row 1 in the wrong side, row 2 in the right side, row 3 in the wrong side of the piece, and row 4 in the right side of your piece. Okay. So that's 6. You chain 3, 1, 2, and 3. Go to the stitch, do 2 elongated double crochet, chain 1, 2, elongated double crochet, 1, 2, and 3. Go to the next space, move 1, 2, 3, stitch up, 1, 2, 3, turn your work around, and now we're going to do repetition of row 3. So for this is repetition of those 4 rows. Very easy, very fast. Now you're going to chain 2, 1 and 2. You want to work your first stitch in between these two and chain 1. Just a sec, I have a little bit of something coming in here because I pull the yarn from the inside of my ball of yarn, and sometimes you get these little knots. I'm sorry about this, but we all get this problem. Either you're in the beginning of your ball if you work from the inside, or at the end of the ball if you're working from the outside in. So either way, sometimes you get these tangles. Trying to see what the problem is. Sorry, you're watching me trying to untangle that, see if I have enough to finish those 2 rounds that I need, or row. So again, you'll do, I think I chained 1 in here. Yes, I did. Yes, I did. I need to chain 1. Chain 1 and go to the next space. I thought I was doing the last row. Chain 1, go to the next space in between these 2. Chain 1, go to the space between these 2. Chain 1 and go to the space between these 2. And you now have 5 of these stitches with 4 spaces in between. 1, 2, 3 chains, and you do the stitch. You're going to come here to the next space. It's in here. You see we are working now and almost at the corner of the stitch at the granny square. So I'm going to do this in here. I'm going to pause the video and remove that knot, and then I will continue working now in the last row of this motif. Okay, just a second. I'm going to chain 3, 1, 2 and 3, move 1 stitch up, 1, 2 and 3, turn my work around, and I'm on the right side of the piece again, and I'm going to do the last row. So you're going to do the stitch again, chain 1 again, 2 elongated double crochet or Portuguese double crochet. That's how I know them, the name. So maybe you know them as a different name. So you're gonna chain, you know that I made a mistake here. I chained 3 and there is 2. Sorry about that. So after you finish this is a chain 2. I could have left it like that, but no, I don't want to mislead you. Probably you're saying, oh, she did 3 and it's a chain 2. So we are there again. 1, 2 and 3, move 1 up, chain 3, 1, 2 and 3, stitch. We're back again today. So now you chain 1 and you do 3 of these elongated double crochet on each chain 1 space. Very easy, very fast stitch to do. You just have to pay a little bit of attention when you want one stitch up. And it's not shortcut for this, had to be a little bit longer than a double crochet, but no a treble crochet. Okay, so like a 1.5 double crochet. So that's 1, 2, and 3. Chain 1. Let's stitch it here. Chain 1, 2, and 3. Go to the space in here. Chain 3, 1, 2, and 3. 1 space up, and then you have to start all over again with row 1. Okay. You see? So in the first row, you have a space of 4 chain in between the center motif. In the second, you have 3, and the third one you have 2, and in the fourth one you have 1 chain in here. Okay, just wanted to explain you that just in case I made a mistake and I misinform you. So you'll do that repetition over and over. So if you need to see me again doing it, you'll go back to the video and see me when I did this row 1. But it's exactly the same over and over and over. If you like, you can do that mistake that I made. That way you have the opening at the arm exactly at the same height as mine, because I had to do that mistake number 1 if I want them to be the same. So in here, I'm gonna explain you now when you get to the space of between these 2 granny square. Okay. But first, I'm going to let you know how many of these motifs you will do before you are ready to do the sleeve. So for mine, remember mine is a size large, but not all the size large are the same. So you will have to be measuring the opening in your arm as you go. So for me, I did 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 is already part of the sleeve. You see, the sleeve is one continuous piece. Really nice, really easy. Without cutting your yarn, you will do the sleeve on your piece. Okay, so now I'll explain you what you're gonna do in between those granny squares that we have 2 spaces, one from this side, one from the other side. Okay, I'm in the space here where the 2 granny square meet in the corner. So this is the corner of this one, the chain space, and now this one is the other one. So you're gonna continue with your stitch, working your chains up. You see, and here I already went 1 stitch up. I will go the same in the other side, and then I don't gonna do any work at here. I'm gonna go to the chain space in here. Okay, so you have to do that in this side and in the other one. I finished my 12 repetition, so now I'm ready to do the sleeve. The arm opening measure 19 centimeter and a couple of a little line of the measuring tape, or 7.5 inches almost. So this is a size large, and this without stretching, and measure that, and then stretching it is even bigger. Okay, so and here if you wanted to do this bigger, don't matter if you finish, let's say, in row 2, and then instead of doing row 3 you will repeat row 1 again, because we have to start the sleeve with row 1 all the way around the arm opening. Okay, the other one, when I did it the first time that I did double crochet and I didn't make the mistake, I was done the opening for the sleeve in row 3, repetition of row 3. So instead of doing 4, I did row 1, and it looked fine under the arm. Don't look like it was, you know, obvious. So I wanted to explain you that, because we only have to start the sleeve with row 1. That way it look perfect. So for this sleeve I did 6 repetition of the motif. It's a straight sleeve. I don't did any decrease or anything, and it looked like this. You see? So I have here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 motif with a beautiful finish border. Okay, so that's what we're gonna do in this one. I finished here with a single crochet exactly in the single crochet or slip stitch that I did to finish that square. See, this is the double crochet to do the last row number 9. So I finished just right there. Now I have to do a slip stitch to go back to this space. That way we chain 4, turn our work around, and start working on the right side of the piece. Because if we work like this, we're going to be doing an inside out sleeve. Okay, so we want it to have the right side out. So that's what we're going to do, slip stitch until the chain 1 space. Something that I wanted to mention is, if you finish in repetition of 3 because you want a little bit bigger and you are on this side of the piece, what you do, you just slip stitch on the right side until here. We have to do on the wrong side and turn our work around because we finished with row 4. So, and here I'm gonna do a slip stitch. So I have tons of, oh my, okay, so I move that out of the way. I have to do 3 slip stitch here. That's 1. And the chain 3 space, 1 on each chain, 2, and 3, 1 in the first elongated double crochet, another, and the second one, and 1 to get to the chain 1 space. You're going to chain 4, 1, 2, 3, and 4. You're going to turn your work around, and in the same space you're going to do 2 elongated double crochet exactly in that space. In the same way that you are starting and ending this round, you will start and end every single round. Okay, so you're going to chain 4, 1, 2, 3, and 4. Yarn over. You're gonna come to this first single crochet in here, and you're gonna do 1 elongated double crochet, chain 3, and another one. That is the first row of this motif. Chain 4, 1, 2, 3, and 4. You're gonna skip that single crochet. I'm working in the single crochet of the last row of the granny square. Okay, so in here you're gonna do 2 elongated double crochet, 1 and 2, chain 1 and 2 more in the same space, 1 and 2. And for this sleeve in here, I have 6 of these, so I had to do 6 in here, so I had to have them around the same distance, and making sure that I have, because I already have 1 under the arm, I have to have 1 on top of the shoulder and 2 on each side of the granny square, 2 on the front granny and 2 on the back granny. So 1, 2, 3 and 4. So I have my first one here and one on the side of the granny, and then now I have to do the second one that I will be in here, skipping one of those single crochet. One, 2, 3 and 4. Now the next one will be in here. You see this chain 5 space, this is the center in between the granny, but I need to have one of these before I do the center here. So we're gonna do that one in here, 1, 2, and the third chain I'm gonna do that stitch. That is 2, chain 1 and 2 more. So you can have 6 like me, you can have 5 if you do it smaller, you can have 7 if you do it bigger, but remember we are not doing any decrease to the sleeve, so it's straight. So you're going to chain 4, 1, 2, 3 and 4, and in the single crochet here in the center in between these two granny in the corner, you're going to do one of those base for the stitch. So that's the repetition of 1 right in the center. So you'll have 1 in the shoulder and 1 under the arm. So 1, 2, 3 and 4. You're gonna come to the first single crochet. You're gonna do 2 elongated double crochet, chain 1 and 2 more. 1, 2, 3 and 4. Just keep 1, go to the next one and do again the base for the motif. Again another one in the same space. You're gonna chain 4, 1, 2, 3 and 4. Skip 1, go to the next one. So that's the first one of 2 that I have to do in this granny side. One of these. One, 2, 3 and 4, and we're gonna work on the last one in here. One, 2, 3, and again you're gonna do this. Now you're gonna chain 2 because the space is a little bit bigger in between these two here. So I'm gonna chain 2, do elongated double crochet in here, and chain 2 and do the stitch. I did that in this one. Let me show you. I have the marker around here, that way you see it. And here I did 2, I did the elongated double crochet, did 2, and at the top I just did the chain 3, and you don't see that extra stitch in there, okay, when you put it on. So now you're going to chain 2, 1 and 2, yarn over, and in that space of this single crochet if I can get it through. I'm gonna do my elongated double crochet, chain 2, and then do the stitch in here, and I just made that little hole smaller. So now I do my 2 elongated double crochet, chain 1, 2 elongated double crochet, 1 and 2, chain 4, 1, 2, 3 and 4, go to the center here and do an elongated double crochet, 1, 2, 3 chain, and another one in the same space, 1, 2, 3 and 4. And the same way that I'm going to finish here, I'm going to finish every single round. So you're going to do an elongated double crochet in the first space that you start. You're going to count 1, 2, and in the third chain you're going to do a slip stitch to the center, and you're again at the center, chain 4, 1, 2, 3 and 4, and again 2 more elongated double crochet, 1 and 2, chain 3, 1, 2 and 3, and now you go inside here at the chain 3 space, and you're going to do your 6 elongated double crochet for repetition or row 2. So you're going to continue with all those repetitions until you have the desired length for you. Let me finish this one and I'll show you. So 4, 5 and 6, chain 3, 1, 2 and 3, and come here and do the stitch, and like that you're gonna work all the way around your sleeve until you have the desired length. Mine I did 6 repetitions at the motif, and I ended with a really nice scallop border in this one, and I did the regular stitch in this one. And with those 6 repetitions, sorry, it's a 3/4 sleeve, like that. If you want it longer, you can do 7, or you can do 8 if you want it all the way in here. But for mine, I like this length. When I did my first try of this, that I did the sleeve and everything, since I did it with double crochet, to have this length, I had to do 7 of the repetition. But now with 6, I have the same length. So by doing that elongated double crochet, the work is faster because you have to do less repetition. So do those 6 repetitions of the design, or 7, 8, or 5, 4. It's up to you the amount that you want to do. Maybe you always just want to do 1. And then I will measure here to do something that I wanted to mention before I start working my other sleeve is, if you like this to be a more fitted sleeve, more tight in your arm, you don't can do this stitch, because this stitch you don't can do decrease. But if you like a sleeve and you want it more tight in your arm, you can do just this design in the entire sleeve. And here, and instead to do the repetition of row 1, you will do another one of these. You will do 2 long elongated double crochet, chain 1, and another one here with those 4 chain of separation. You will work that for 5 row or round repetition, and then you will decrease to 3 chain in between it for a few repetition, and then you will decrease to 2, you will decrease to 1, and then none in between the stitch. This will be attaching to each other, and that will make your sleeve smaller. But I like mine like this, nice and loose. Okay, so I will continue with mine. I just wanted to give you that option if you don't like loose sleeve. Okay, now we're gonna chain 4, 1, 2, 3 and 4. In the same space, we're gonna do the 2 elongated double crochet or Portuguese double crochet, 1 and 2. We're going to chain 2, 1 and 2, and in that chain 1 space we're going to do a single crochet. We're going to chain 3, 1, 2 and 3, yarn over, and inside that single crochet you're going to do 2 double crochet, but you don't going to finish the first one. I almost did and I don't get it double crochet. That's 1 and 2. You're gonna close those 3 loops, and you're gonna pass these 3 stitches, and in between the third one and the fourth one you're gonna do a single crochet. Again, 1, 2 and 3, yarn over, and that single crochet you're gonna do 2 double crochet, but you don't want to finish them, so you'll have 3 loops. You're going to close those 3, and again in between the third stitch and the fourth one you're going to do a single crochet. 1, 2 and 3, yarn over, the first double crochet that you don't going to finish, and the second one you're going to close them, and in between the third and the fourth stitch you're going to do a single crochet. 1, 2 and 3, yarn over, 1 and the 2 double crochet, and you're going to do the single crochet and the chain 1 space in here. You're going to chain 2, 1 and 2, and you're going to do the 2 elongated double crochet or Portuguese double crochet, chain 1, and again you're going to chain 2, 1 and 2, a single crochet, and you're going to continue with that repetition all the way around, and you're going to finish in here the same way that you finish all the other rounds, and it will look like this. Here I finished the sleeve with a slip stitch. I cut the yarn and I only had this little tail to lose in here and the one at the beginning. So you will do the other one exactly the same. Remember, they have to be exactly the same amount of stitches in the side and in the sleeve. So after that you're going to grab your 2 pieces together, because we did one side and the other one. This one is the other one that I have here, and we're going to work in the back. Okay, make sure there is no twister or anything, and then you're going to attach them in the back in here. So I put these pins in the back, and this is the width that I need for my size. So that means if I do the whole thing like this, it will be too big for me. So what I'm gonna do is just make one of these and see how it look here in the back. Okay, I left a few markers, that way I don't make the mistake of going the wrong way. So since I'm gonna do only one of these stitch, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do my slip knot again, exactly the same as we did the other design under the arm. Okay, we're gonna come here and we're gonna count 1, 2, and then the third one we're gonna do the slip stitch, past the slip stitch, and we're gonna chain 7, and that counts as the first one. Okay, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. You're gonna come here and the other side, and you're gonna count 1, 2, and in the third one you're gonna do your single crochet. You're gonna chain 3, 1, 2, and 3, and you're gonna come here to the next space of chain 5, and you're gonna do a single crochet, 1, 2, and 3. You're gonna turn your work around, and in the inside, that's why I left the marker, that way I know I had to work in this side here. So I'm gonna count 1, 2, 3, and in number 4, chain number 4, I'm gonna do 2 elongated double crochet. So that's 1, and 2, chain 1 and 2 more in the same space. You're going to chain 3, 1, 2, and 3, and let me make sure I go the right way. Yep. And the chain 5 space here, I'm going to do my single crochet, chain 3, 1, 2, and 3, go to the next chain 5 space, do my single crochet, 1, 2, and 3, turn my work around, and I'm going to do my stitches inside the chain space in here. You see, I'm gonna do my 2 elongated double crochet, chain 1 and 2 more elongated double crochet. Chain 3, 1, 2, and 3, go to the next chain 5 space and do your single crochet, chain 3, 1, 2, and 3, and go to the next space and do your single crochet, chain 3, 1, 2, and 3. You're going to turn your work around, and inside the chain space you're going to do your 2 elongated double crochet, 1 and 2, chain 1, 2 more in the same space, 1 and 2, chain 3, 1, 2, and 3, and go to the next chain 5 space, do your single crochet, chain 3, 1, 2, and 3, move 1 stitch higher to the next chain 5 space, chain 3, 1, 2, and 3, and you're going to turn your work around again, and you're going to continue with that repetition all the way until the end of the back. Okay, so you're going to come here all the way. Remember, I'm going to leave 1 or 2 spaces before the shoulder with no stitches. Okay, so you're going to do the stitch, either you're doing the one in here if you're making this bigger, or you're gonna do this one in the back. You can do exactly the same as this one under the arm if you want the piece to be a smaller size, like a size medium or a small. Okay, here and then a few of the repetition, and I just want you to see how nice it'll look. I'm gonna work in the last space, and I finished this one in here, and this is the corner at this granny square. You see, and this one is what I'm gonna finish, and this one is the corner of the granny square. This space I don't wanna work. Okay, so I did a chain 3, I attached the single crochet in that square. Now I'm gonna do the design, and in order for this one to be even, I had to do my single crochet in this space where I already have one of these single crochet. Okay, I have a chain 3, I did a single crochet. You see, this square already have a stitch, but to finish even you have to do that one there, because if you finish in this side here, you will have an extra space in here, so you have to finish like that. So I did a chain 3, and I hope you guys can see well. I gotta do the elongated double crochet, so that's 1 and 2, chain 1, another one in that space, 1 and 2, chain 3, 1, 2, and 3, and then in here you're gonna go to the center at the 5th chain, because you don't want this stitch to move. You're gonna do your single crochet, cut your yarn, and loose that tail. And in there, they're even because they're both exactly in the same space, okay? They're working exactly in that space there. So I'm gonna lose the tail, and then I will show you how. Once you finish in the back, putting the two pieces together, will work in the front. And this is what I did for my right side of the piece. I'm gonna do the same for the left side of the piece. I wanted to mention that if you like this open, you'll do it like this, but if you like the piece closed in the front for like a bikini cover up, what you do is you do more chains. For this one, I did 16 chains. That way I can have an extra chain to do the double crochet and then turn my work around. But if you do bigger, you will have to do 25 chains. That way you'll have one of these motif and another one of these to the other side, and then you have your piece closed. This stitch I did a little bit smaller than this one. That way it's more straight, and you know, it's not too big. It's a little bit smaller than the other one. If you look this one and this one here, the distance between these two is bigger than this one. Now for the right side, you're going to start different than the left side, because you want to work the first row and the wrong side of the piece. So for this one, what I did 16 chain. You see the tail is here, and I attached the chain to the corner here with a single crochet. I chain 3, I went to the next space of chain 5, and I turn my work around and I work the first row and the wrong side. That way the ones that you put more stitches, they are in the right side. So this one, they have more of the elongated double crochet is in the right side, and this one as well. Okay, that way they look like the right side of the piece, otherwise they look inside out in that part. So in the other side, what we're gonna do is we're gonna start with the slip stitch here. I have marker from William there. The slip stitch here, and then you chain your 16, and then you turn in the back of the chain, and then you do the first row. So it's very easy, and it will look really nice. For this one, I did 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and 3 row of the next one. I don't finish this one with row number 4, and I left, this is the shoulder, and then I left these open for the front of the piece. So I just left it there because I don't want this, I give a little more wide to the stitch, and I don't want this to be like that. I want it to be nice and straight for the top of the opening of the neck. So after I finish the other side, I will do a stitch all the way around, and then we have done our piece. So we're almost there. Here I did this little chart. It's not the perfect chart, but just to explain how you're gonna work. I have a D and an I here because that's in Spanish, but then I have the R and the L here for English. That's the right side and the left side. So the right side of the piece, you're gonna start in here, and you're gonna do 16 chain and attach that chain to the piece. You're gonna chain 3 and go to the next space of 5 in here and do the single crochet, and then you're gonna chain 2, and then you're gonna leave 2 space from the chain, and in the third one you're gonna do the stitch. Now the change is in here. In the one under the arm, the space in here was a 4 chain space. Now it's a 3 chain space, but this stitch stay the same. In the 5th chain space, you do this stitch, and then you leave 5 chain space of 4, and number 5 again you do the space in here, the stitch, but leaving 3 chains on each side of the center motif. Okay, and then you will chain 2, and in the last chain space, that will be number 16, you're gonna do an elongated double crochet, and then you will change chain 5 chains, 3 to go up plus 2 for separation, and then you will do the stitch in here for row 2. Now in here, and instead to be a chain 3 space like under the arm, it will be a chain 2 space on each side. And then you will do the stitch as you see it, go up, and then in number 3 you'll have a chain 1 space, and row number 4 you don't gonna have any chain space. Okay, so in here the change of the stitch is in this chain and in the row number 4. In row number 4, in this one under the arm, we have here 3 stitches on each chain space. In this one here I did 2 stitches in the first chain space, 3 in the second one, 3 in the third one, and 2 in the fourth one. So instead of having 12 stitches here, we'll have 10. Okay, and that's the chain. You see here I have 3, 2, 1, and here no chain space in between the stitch. That is the change that I did from this one to this one here. Okay, so I just wanted to explain you that, and that is in the right side. Now the left side, you're gonna start in here with the yarn attached to the piece, and then you'll chain 16. When you chain 16, you'll chain 5 more, so 3 to go up and 2 for separation, and then you will leave the stitches in here and do your stitch. So in total you'll count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and in chain number 9 is where you do this stitch. You'll chain 3, you leave 1, 2, 3, 4, and in number 5 again you do the center stitch, and 1, 2, 3, 4, and number 5 you do the center stitch, and then 1 and 2, and then you will work with a single crochet, chain 3, go up, and then you chain 2, do the stitch in here, chain 2, do the 6 stitches in here that stay the same, chain 2, the stitch in here, chain 2, and then you do a elongated double crochet, chain 5, 3 to go up, 2 for separation, you do the stitch here, and then you chain 1, do the elongated double crochet with 1 stitch in between, 1 chain space in between, and so on. So I just wanted to explain you that first, and then I will show you how you're gonna do it. Okay, so I hope with that explanation and what I'm gonna show you now, you do this part in here. So we had to work for the left side in here, but I want to show you row number 1 for the right side, so I will do it in this lower part in here, because your piece will be like this for the right side. Okay, so I just want to show you row number 1, that way I don't leave any detail missing in my work. So I did a slip knot, and I'm going to chain 16. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, and 16. You'll go and chain and count 1, 2, and then chain number 3. You will do your single crochet. You'll chain 3, 1, 2, and 3, and go to the next chain 5 space and do your single crochet. You'll chain 2, 1, and 2, turn your work around, and then you're going to count 1, 2, and then number 3 you're going to do your stitch. So that's 2 elongated double crochet, chain 1, and 2 elongated double crochet. Now you're going to chain 3, 1, 2, and 3. You're going to count 1, 2, 3, 4, and then number 5. You're going to do an elongated double crochet, chain 3, another elongated double crochet in the same space. you chain 3, 1, 2, and 3, yarn over, you're going to count 1, 2, 3, 4, and then number 5, you're going to do your stitch again. So that's 2 elongated double crochet, 1, and 2, chain 1 and 2 in the same space, 1 and 2. You're going to chain 2, yarn over, and you're going to count 1, 2, and then the third chain, that is the last one, number 16 or number 1, you will do your elongated double crochet, and then you'll chain 1, 2, 3 to go up, plus 2 for separation is 5. Turn your work around, and then you'll do the stitch in here, chain 2, your 6 stitch in the center, chain 2, the stitch in the center here, chain 2, your single crochet, chain 3, go 1 stitch up, chain 2, and then row number 3. And like that, you're going to continue working in your right side of the piece. Now I will show you how we're going to work in the left side, and the stitch that I'm going to do in here is exactly the same as you will do in the right side of the piece. So now we're going to start the left side of our piece with a slip knot. And we're going to count here 1, 2, and the third one, pass the loop, and I count the loop as the first chain because it's big enough for a chain space. So that will be chain number 1. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, and 16. Now you're going to chain 3 to go up, 1, 2, and 3, plus 2 for separation. So you're going to count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and then number 9 in the back side of the chain. You're going to do your 2 elongated double crochet, chain 1, and 2 more in the same space. Chain 3, 1, 2, and 3. Remember, I did a change of the stitch, so now instead of 43, 1, 2, 3, 4, and number 5, you're going to do an elongated double crochet, chain 3, and another elongated double crochet in the same space, chain 3, yarn over, and you're going to count 1, 2, 3, let me see, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then number 5. Again, you're going to do, I think this is too loose, so I'm going to count from here 1, 2, and the third one. It's easier. Oops. I was going to the chain space there. Sometimes if I make a mistake, since I redo the piece in that part and I record in Spanish, sometimes I can get the mistake, but sometimes I don't. So chain 2, but who don't make mistakes on the crochet or net? Sometimes we make it and we don't realize. So you're going to do a single crochet and that chain 5 space, 1, 2 and 3, go to the next chain 5 space. You see that stay the same as the other side. Chain 2, turn the work around. So in the other one you chain 3, but this one is a chain 2 in here as well. Do the stitch again, chain 1, 2 elongated double crochet in the same space, and since we did the chain 3 in here, now we're going to chain 2 and do the 6 stitches in here. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Chain 2, 1 and 2, and again you're going to do the stitch inside here, chain 1 space, you're going to do 2 elongated double crochet, chain 1, and again the same, 2 elongated double crochet. Chain 2, yarn over, and you're going to count 1, 2, and then the third one you're going to do your elongated double crochet. Chain 3 plus 2, 5, 1, 2, 3 to go up, plus 2 for separation is 5. Turn your work around, do the stitch again in the center, chain 1, 2 more on the same space, now we're going to chain 1 because we did 3, 2, and now 1, and you're going to do an elongated double crochet and chain 1 space, exactly the same as in the other part that when you did this stitch. These stay the same. Chain 1, and again you'll come in the center and do the stitch. Here, that's what happens when you pull too much yarn out. Really nice. And there we go. So chain 1 and 2 more in here. Chain 2. Go to the next chain 5 space, do a single crochet, it's a little bit too loose. 1, 2, and 3, go to the next space, single crochet, 1 and 2, turn your work around, and you're going to do the repetition of row 4, but I did a change in this one. Chain 1, I don't like when they get too loose. Sometimes you can control the tension of the stitch with this finger by keeping it in there. So this time, since we did 3, 2, 1, now we don't gonna do any chain space. We come directly here and we're gonna do 2 elongated double crochet instead of 3. That is the change in here. In the next one you do 3. If you do 2, it will look a little bit empty, the spaces. So with 3 here, and 3 in this one, and 2 in the last one. It look much better. I tried different ways to do this, and this was the best for the piece. And 2 in the last one. Now you don't gonna do any chain space, you just go here and do the stitch. Oops, I did an extra one without the chain space. Chain 2, and this time I'm gonna count from the lower part up. 1, 2, and then the third one is easier that way. You can see this, the third chain better. And now you will start and do again that repetition, okay? So you will chain 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Turn your work around, do the stitch in here. Chain 1, again. Now you chain 3. 1, 2, and 3. Yarn over, and you'll go in the center here. You see this stitch is straight from that one, in between these 3 stitches and the 3 in the center. You'll do again the stitch, exactly the same as we did with the 2 pieces under the arm. Okay, so like that you're going to continue working all your stitches with that change in the stitch, and you'll work until you have the desired length. For me they were 12 plus and 13. I did only 3 other round. So I will meet you here when I finish this and do the border around the piece if you like, and then we're done our piece. Something I forgot to mention is if you want to do this close, so you'll be working like this but without this one in here, like so. But if you like, you can do it too without the elongated double crochet, but 2 of these in here, so you'll have to add 3 more chains in order to do another one of these, and then you will work with the piece close. You can do it exactly with the change that I did in here, that way the stitch is now bigger in the center. It looks really nice. And then you'll work, and instead to having just an close in here, you can work until, let's say, around here, and then you separate the 2 pieces. You work in this side and then later attach the yarn and work in this side, and here working, leaving a little bit of an opening in the front. Okay, so I wanted to mention that just in case. Here I wanted to show you that I'm working in the part where the 2 granny together meet in the single crochet. I'm working that stitch as well, because remember we don't have another side here to go a few stitches up, so we had to work every single chain space. Okay, we had to have a stitch in all of them. So in this one, in the space here of this granny, and the chain 6 space where I did 2 and then the single crochet and then 3 in this side. In that space I did this single crochet. I chained 3 and I went to that single crochet in between the 2 granny. I did my single crochet. I chained 2 and I will work that space. I'll come back and in that other little chain of the corner of this granny I will work my stitch in there, and then I will chain 3 to the next space. So I'm working all my spaces, and I did that in this side as well. You see, that's what I did in that space. Okay, so I wanted to mention that way you end up with a piece exactly like mine. I finished the other side and it's exactly the same height and everything as the other one. Now I'm gonna do a border. If you like yours without a border, you have done your piece. Just lose the tails that you have, and you can put buttons in here, or you can do a chain to tie here in the top, or a longer chain to crisscross in the front and tie around here. But that's probably what I'm gonna do for mine. I have some polymer clay buttons that I did. All these buttons. Look how beautiful these ones look. Oh, that's done with polymer clay. I bought the polymer clay at Michael's and then I started playing with it. So I did a pile of buttons because sometimes you want some buttons and they are so expensive at the store. I say I can make my own, and I can customize them whatever color I want. So now I'm going to show you how you're going to do the border. If you decide to do a border, it is exactly the same as this. So I finished this part in here in this corner, and I'm going to start in here. I don't want to cut my yarn and start somewhere else. I'm going to start just right there. I finished it with a single crochet. I'm going to chain 3, 1, 2, and 3. I'm going to turn my work around, and in the single crochet I'm going to do 2 double crochet, regular double crochet, 1 and 2. I'm going to close them, and I'm going to come here to the center. You see the stitch in here, to that chain space. I'm going to do my single crochet, 1, 2, and 3. Again, 2 double crochet and that single crochet. Yeah, and the double crochet are regular double crochet, and you don't want to finish, and then when you have the 3 loops, you're going to close those 3 loops, and then you go to the chain 1 space in here, and you're going to do your single crochet. And I'm working in the right side of the piece. Okay, 1, 2, and 3. And then I'm going to skip this square and I go to the next one, and I'm going to do my single crochet, 1, 2, and 3, my 2 double crochet with that finish. Now I close those 3 loops, I skip this square and go to the next one, do my single crochet, 1, 2, and 3. And I'm trying to give the length of that double crochet, because if I clutter them here, I do too many, these start to create a wave, and if I do too little, it will stretch it out. So I try to have this even. Okay, so in here you see my double crochet is around this length, and the chain 1 space. I do my single crochet, 1, 2, and 3. Again, 2 double crochet and a single crochet. And then come to that chain 1 space in here, do your single crochet, 1, 2, and 3. And we are just in the last part of this piece. I can see the light at the end of the tunnel. close those, and then in this chain 2 space you're gonna do the single crochet, because remember you did 3 to go up and 2 for separation. So in that 2, after you pass those 2 elongated double crochet, you do your single crochet. 1, 2, and 3, and again we're gonna do the last one in here. And you're gonna count from the bottom up at the corner, 1, 2, and in the third chain you're gonna do your single crochet, and like that you finish this top part of the piece in here. You see, like that you'll have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 of these motif. So 2 in this one, 3 in this one, 2 in this one, and 1 in the last space. Now we're gonna work in the side of the piece, and then each time we're going to do a single crochet, we're going to do it where this chain 2 space, you see, in this base, like that, because in the side here we have the length of a double crochet, so that will be the length of one of these motif. Okay, I just wanted to mention that. So now here you're going to chain 3, 1, 2, and 3. Do your 2 double crochet with that finish in here, pass the 3 loop, and then you're gonna come, you see, straight from that chain in here you're gonna do your single crochet. 1, 2, and 3, and the single crochet. Again you're gonna do your 2 double crochet that you're gonna finish. You have 3 loops, close those 3 loops, and go to the next space in here at the last chain of 2 and do your single crochet. 1, 2, and 3, and try not to do this in here too long, okay? And go to the space in here and do your single crochet, and like that you're gonna continue all the way around this piece. You're gonna come all the way until here. You see, in this, the last one, you see, is a little bit in, but then you have to do your stitch. You're gonna count 1, and in the second one you're gonna do that, leaving 3 chain in here, okay? And then you'll go in here and you'll do that all the way around your piece, all the way around the other side and around the collar, and then you'll done your cardigan or bikini. Here I did the one in the corner, and now I'm doing the first one to the lower part of the piece, and this one I'm gonna do the single crochet and the chain before that stitch, that first stitch there, and the chain before, and I will put it inside the chain, that way the stitch don't move around. 1, 2, and 3, and do my stitch again, and now this time I'm gonna put to the chain past that stitch, okay, and like that I did the corner. And now you'll continue doing this all the way around the lower part, all the way around the other side and around the neck, and you just have to make sure that the length that you give to one of these is the length of a double crochet. So you will do your next one, 1, 2, and 3, you close it, and around you see, you measure where will go that stitch, so it will be right in the chain before that stitch, and that'll give me the perfect length, okay? So you'll continue doing this. remember just to measure the side of the stitch that you're creating, and that will give you exactly the length where you should put the single crochet. You don't want to put too many stitches or too little, because you put too many, it will create a wave. If you put a too little, it'll start to wrinkle and gather. So I wanted to show you here before I go that I'm doing this single crochet just in the stitch, not inside the chain like I did in here. So that way in here they can move around, but in here they are nice and secure in this part of the piece, okay? So in here I will show you one more time, and I promise that's it. I want to give you every single detail, that way you know everything that I've done for my piece. So you see in here I just go like that and do my single crochet. So that's what I'm going to do all the way around, and then I will meet you here maybe to show you the color, but I think you know now how to do this part, okay? So probably will be when I'm finished my piece, I will show you the end result. But I love the way it's turning out this. Now I'm gonna finish in the same place that I start my first stitch. So in that single crochet I'm gonna do a slip stitch, chain 1, cut my yarn, pass it through, and I just have to lose the tail, and then I've done all the border around my cardigan, my summer cardigan or bikini cover up. So I finished my piece, and this is the leftover yarn from my third ball of yarn, and I don't gonna do the I-cord or a chain with single crochet now because I want to finish the video. That way I have time to edit for this Wednesday, otherwise I don't gonna have time. Later on I will finish that. So you can do buttons, you can do a piece of lace or anything in the front. Is up to your taste. So now I'll show you the end result. This is how I look in the back. Remember, my mannequin is from a small to a medium size, so this is a large size piece and is quite loose in my mannequin, and like this is in the side, you know, that stitch, and it look amazing. I love this piece. This is one of my favorite cardigan that I've done so far. It took me a while to put it together because the design of the stitches that I did, but man, I love it. So now I'll show you how I look in the front, and look how nice that look around the neck. Amazing. Well, this is the piece in the front. Cardigan, summer cardigan or bikini cover up or for a wedding, you know, is amazing. Amazing. For those ones that go on a cruise, gorgeous, don't you think? It was a little bit of work, but now for you guys it will be easier because I give you the detail. For me it was a little more difficult because I have to match the different stitches to the granny square, but now it's easy peasy to do it, okay? Well, I hope you guys like it, and give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel if you are not already a subscriber. And if you make my piece, this beautiful piece, or any of my work, and you want to send me some pictures, you can do it through my Facebook page, Ruby Stedman Crochet, or my Instagram, Ruby Stedman Crochet. Please share my video with friends and family, that way you help me grow here in YouTube. Something that I wanted to mention before I go is if you want to do this smaller, I recommend to use a smaller crochet hook. You can use a 2mm, 2.5, or 3mm, and automatically this will be a little bit smaller. If you use the 3 it's a little bit, but if you use the 2 or 2.5, quite a smaller piece. Okay? I wish you have a beautiful day.